The leftovers. Drake sat at the corner of the bar, nursing a whiskey that had grown warm in his hand. His mind replayed the rejection over and over again, like a needle stuck on a vinyl record. Amy, the woman he had fallen hard for, had just told him, "I think we're better as friends." Her words had been coated in kindness but stung with the venom of disappointment. He sighed, stirring his drink absent-mindedly. It wasn't the first time Drake had been passed over. He had always been the good guy, the one who listened, who gave advice, who never pressured anyone. But that seemed to be the problem. He was never the first choice. Never someone's dream. Always the safe backup plan, waiting in the wings in case someone else let them down. Tonight, Amy's rejection weighed heavier than most. She had been different, or so he thought. She had the warmth of someone who might see him for more than just the good guy. But apparently he was wrong. Again. He'd heard the unspoken truth behind her words. No one wanted a goodwill man who only ended up there because someone else had rejected him. "Hey, are you okay?" A voice interrupted his spiraling thoughts. Jack looked up, meeting the soft gaze of a woman sitting 2 seats away. She wasn't someone he recognized, but her eyes were curious and kind. "Yeah, just a long night," Jack replied with a shrug, trying to shake off the bitterness that clung to his mood. She slid a bit closer, her drink held loosely between her fingers. "You know, I've seen that look before. The 'why does no one ever pick me' face." Jack chuckled despite himself. "Is it that obvious?" She nodded, smiling. "Yeah, but it's okay. I think we've all been there at some point." Jack took a sip of his whiskey, his curiosity piqued. "And you? What's your story?" The woman leaned back, her eyes growing distant for a moment. "I was always the safe bet too. The one people came to when they needed to heal from a broken heart, but never the one they loved first. Eventually, I just stopped trying so hard to be everyone's emotional crutch." Drake raised an eyebrow. "That's a tough thing to do." "Yeah, but necessary," she said with a shrug. "I figured out that I don't need to be everyone's consolation prize. It's exhausting. So, I started focusing on myself. And it turns out, the right people started coming into my life." Jack listened, her words sinking in deeper than he expected. It wasn't like he hadn't tried to focus on himself before, but there was always that nagging desire for connection, for someone to see him and choose him. But maybe that was the problem. Maybe he was too busy waiting to be picked. "You make it sound simple," he said, a smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. She smiled back. "It's not. But it's better than settling for being someone's leftover." Drake mulled over her words as the bar hummed around them. Maybe it was time to stop chasing after those who didn't see his value. Maybe it was time to stop being the fallback option, the goodwill man who never got chosen first. "So what now?" he asked, looking at her. She shrugged, taking a slow sip of her drink. "Now? I finish my drink and go home. Life's too short to hang around waiting for someone to validate your worth." Drake smiled. For the first time in a long time, he felt like he was starting to understand. He wasn't going to be the good guy who got left behind anymore. He was going to be the man who finally chose himself. "Would you like to take a walk with me?" Drake asked Amy. "Sure, life's also about taking risk."